Anderson, and I'm a professional music teacher at Guitar Center, and I'm here with you today to teach you how to start learning the ukulele. Alright, so there's three things that I'm going to ask you before we get into the nitty-gritty of exactly how to play the instrument. Now, number one, why are you here? Now, why do you want to learn the ukulele? Why this instrument? Is it the way that it sounds? Is it because the classical strings don't give you blisters as fast as steel strings? Whatever your reason may be, I want you to write it down. You should have a notebook or some way to keep track of all this information to document your musical journey. So, why are you here? Write down a couple of reasons. Why the ukulele? Why are you watching this video right now? Number two, favorite songs and artists. Number two is it's okay, you can keep going. Number two, favorite songs and artists. So this is huge because maybe you heard somebody play a song or you heard somebody play a ukulele somewhere and you got really inspired. What are the songs that you want to play? What are the songs that when you listen to them make you think like, oh yeah, I need to learn this instrument? Those are going to be very helpful for you because they're going to give you something to shoot for. Those are going to be your long-term goals. Now, one last question. Number three, do you have a ukulele? This is a big question. So, if you do not have a ukulele, don't fret just yet. I have a free motivational class that I specifically designed to be gone through without an instrument. So, leave a comment below if that is you, if you do not have an instrument but you'd still like to get started. But if you do have a uke, then yeah, let's get started. Number one, basic anatomy. This is the body of the instrument. This is what is going to help resonate the sound. You've got the strings here, which are coming from the bridge and the saddle. I'm going to give you a full breakdown here. Know is that these are the strings and that these are the frets, and that's how you're going to eventually make sound and music with this instrument. And then this little guy right here is a tuner, which takes me to the next step, tuning. There are 4 strings on this instrument, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it matches, this diagram matches if you're looking straight at the fretboard of the ukulele. Now it's tuned G, C, E, A. Now find whatever acronym you need to remember that, whether it's Giggly Chicks Eat Apples, Grizzly Cowboys Eat Alone, or Giant Cats Eat a Bunch. Whatever you got, whatever you can think of, just remember that these are the notes that you're going to be tuned to. Now, how we use this little guy is when looking down at your ukulele, the first string is going to be, well, number 4, the one that's closest to you, will be G. Now, as you see here, this is the tuner. When it is straight, and it turns into that greenish color, and a lot of tuners are different. This is just one brand. This is the brand that I prefer, but when it's right there, no reds, then that means it's in tune. If it was red, you hear that, it means that you need to bring the tone of that note up. And you keep twisting the peg until it gets right there in the center. Now, if it's yellow, so G, C, Grizzly Cowboys Eat Alone, or Giggly Chicks Eat Apples, whatever you want, G, C, so the next one is C. If it was yellow, or if it was past it, then that means that it's too high, and you need to tune down, and then tune right back up into the note. Now repeat that for the next 2 strings, E and A. Remember, Giggly Chicks Eat Apples, or whatever else you come up with. And then now, we're in tune, and we're ready for the next step. Chords. Chords make up the majority of what we know to be music, and especially on the ukulele, chords are going to be your best friend. Yeah. So let's learn our first chord. Now you remember how we went over the tuning and how we looked that whenever you see a diagram like this, it's as if you're looking at the fretboard straight on. Now, the same thing with the way that chords are laid out. Chords are going to be laid out as if you are at the fretboard like this. And now the reason that I put this little dot in the middle of these little wires is because that is actually where you're going to want to put your finger. You're going to want to put your finger right in the middle of both of those lines. Now, that first chord is known as the C chord. Alright, the way we're going to play this chord is with either your first finger, which if you got to label the fingers, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Your thumb doesn't get to be a finger. Not unless we're playing piano. So with your first finger or your second finger, or your second finger, you're going to go ahead and push down on the 1, 2, 3, third fret there on just that final string. And then you play it, which we need to cover what the right hand is doing now too. On to the next step. Strumming. It's a weird sounding word. But what it means is to strum. A strum is basically you striking the strings in a way that makes a sound. Now the way that you see a lot of people do this is with the use of their first finger on your right hand. And then if you go ahead and bend at the second knuckle, and that's just a suggestion, then you can bring that down to the ukulele and play with your fingernail striking the strings on your way down, and then the pad of your finger striking the strings on the way back up. And that should give you both directions of how to strike those strings and to strum. Yeah! Alright, so far we've got the basic anatomy. You know the parts in which you're dealing with. You know what the uke looks like. And tuning, you know how to tune the instrument, how to use a tuner, and what notes to tune each one of those strings to. Chords, we learned our very first chord. Good job, by the way. And strumming, we found out how to actually make sound with the instrument, which is a big deal. And so, that is all for today's lesson. This has been Free Lesson Friday. Remember, grab a notebook and keep track of all of your efforts. Trust me, it will help when you look back and you realize how much effort you're putting into this and you see how much you've grown. It really does matter. So go ahead and keep a log down of anything that you did today. Any questions that you have, please leave in the comments below. And check back every week for a Free Lesson Friday. Yeah! Thanks for tuning in to my Free Lesson Friday. I hope you learned something about the ukulele. But if you do have a uke, then let's get to this. Let's wait, no. Okay. First things first, let's find out what we're working with here. So we've got... Yeah. Which takes me to the next step. Okay. Which takes me to the next point. It's a weird sounding word. But what it means is to strum. So, you got